Well, now you still are continuing coverage of the passing of Ghana's former First Lady, Nana Konadu-Rawlings, whose death, we are told, occurred in the last hour or so of today. We're still on the ground, really, doing as much as possible to bring you all the information. But over here in the studio, Godwin and Anita are on the other side. And ladies and gentlemen, very sad afternoon for us, isn't it?
It certainly is, Kamini. Not the kind of afternoon, like I said, we're expecting. We came on the show hoping to have a good time, and hearing this is rather sad. And it's interesting that Anita and I were talking about her the day,
I think, a few weeks ago,
a few weeks ago,
yeah,
on the day of the burial of the Asante Hema, and how strong she still seems, you know, and still showing up at public events. And to hear this is rather sad. Fond memories for me. I think that I got to know who the former First Lady was when I was probably in JSS, and she was like. For me, she led the movement for women empowerment, honestly. As a little boy back then, I didn't know what women empowerment was and why women needed to be empowered. But Nana Konadu-Rawlings led that charge. You hear of the 31st December women movement. You hear of different things. A lot of market women. My mom, who used to go to the market, used to be a big fan of her. And so, yeah, Anita.
Absolutely, and I think we grew up hearing some of these stories, and fast forward to in the last few years, she being one of the few women to be bold enough to say that I'm vying for the biggest office, I mean, to become the president of the country, which I think was such a bold move, and it inspired a lot of women like myself. And so to hear this news and to have to go through this, again, it's quite heartbreaking. Really, really heartbreaking.
It is.
But we're hoping that the family and children would definitely find solace in the Lord. And our condolences to the entire family as well, Godwin.
Yes, indeed.
Our condolences indeed. And, you know, while we mourn, we also celebrate the life that she's lived. Because, Godwin, you were talking about the 31st December women's movement and how she rallied a lot of women, not only for political causes, but more importantly, to advocate for their rights also. There's not a moment that she's not advocated for the rights of women by her own action, her involvement directly in politics. Anita talked about how she surfaced as a candidate in the 2016 election, how she was a vice chair of the party that, you know, her husband, the former president, Jerry John Rawlings, helped found as well. So by her own action, by her own life, she has advocated for women. She's also directly advocated for women with things like the 31st December Women's Movement. What many people do not remember, perhaps, is how the DWM had nursery schools, many of them around, because of the importance, the nexus between being a woman, being a mother, and then also raising children and having your own career at the same time. They had a whole lot of them. In my community where I grew up, there was a DWM nursery school there, and it was important for the women who had their children there to have that environment for their children at the time. So she was a very significant woman in Ghana's politics. In fact, there are those who say that if you want to know the iron women of this country, she would take the top position.
Yes,
in fact, there was a time that she was being compared with Margaret Thatcher of the UK. Yeah. Very, very significant woman, really. Herself, Teresa Amelitego and Hawa Kumsin, the Iron Ladies of Ghana's politics. We cannot miss that. We cannot underestimate. We cannot overestimate. However you look at it, it is good. And we see her in that video. Listen, that's also the lighter side of her. As much as she she is strict. She doesn't only come across as being very strict or a disciplinarian. She is that person. But she also has her moments where she's very happy, you know, and what we are seeing on the screen at the moment is one of those happy moments beside her husband and you know, the gentle giant, the former president, when she gets her high life music. Because, you know, in that performance was Daddy Lumba. So when she gets her high life music, she, you know, she dances to the beat, and she dances quite well.
It's quite interesting. I didn't see that soft side of her a lot.
I think
you
I saw
did
that
it.
quite often.
I hardly saw that soft side of her.
I saw that quite often. Yes, I did. And it was one aspect of her that made us feel like, okay, out of all of the strictness and then she being, you know, quite a disciplinarian, there's that soft side as well. And her fashion sense is one that my mom and I always also talk about. The fact that she never gets it wrong.
And the
so
signature, you know, the signature headgear.
Yeah,
right. She's had it for as long as I remember her. You know, from as young as when I was a child, because then I would see her in the newspaper every now and then. She's had the headgear. She's formed a personality around that. If you went to a nursery school where you acted a lot of plays, if you did that, everybody knew who you were trying to mimic. And so Nana Konadu's influence is very far-reaching. I haven't seen any other person in Ghana's politics, female so to speak, have such far-reaching influence on young people and women in this country.
Yes, indeed. And just going on that tangent, she really led by example. I was wondering how she could juggle being a mother of 4 beautiful, you know, children, and also be a wife, and then be a leader or someone leading a political party. I mean, the woman is really an Iron lady like you described.
Absolutely, and she made it look so effortless. The fact that you're juggling all of these activities and still make appearances almost every single national event, you see her present. Oh
well. Kamini.
Absolutely, Godwin and Anita. What we see on the screen beside our faces now is the residence of Nana Konadu, of the Rawlingses really, where Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings lived. And as we heard from our reporter earlier, Godwin and Anita, you know, cars are going in and out of the compound. Neighbors who may have heard of the news as it broke on TV3 are also starting to, you know, stand outside their compounds, their homes, to perhaps catch a glimpse of what could happen at the family home. Because, I mean, when someone passes it culturally, the home is where people gather first. And so it's you know, what we are seeing there is beginning to look like people are getting the attention, or what has been, you know, reported already, that people are starting to gather there. It's not just the media, but also the cars going in and out of the house, the neighbors who are, you know, coming out of their homes to learn, why are the media people here? Or perhaps they have also heard on TV3 or on 392.7 FM that indeed the former First Lady, our beloved Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings, has died. And so there you have it, some live pictures. If you could get some sound also from there, we hear what's going on as well. Yeah.
Amini, so I...
sights and sound from the residents of the Rawlingses. If you just joined us, this is our continuing coverage of the passing of Nana Konadu-Agyemang Rawlings, who we've started this coverage in the last hour or so, maybe two, when we heard the news of her passing. And we've just brought you from the residence where our reporters tell us that indeed there appears to be that the news is starting to circulate, and tiny events are going on at the household, and we'll continue to tell you more about that as we gather them. We also have our reporters stationed at the hospital where she reportedly passed. We'll get you more information as to what's going on there as well. Right now, however, we want to take you back in time. Remember that Godwin, Anita, and myself, as we've been talking, we talked about how in 2016 she stood for president on the ticket of the NDP, the party she founded after exiting the NDC. You get how similar the names are, NDC and NDP. She was outdoored as the first presidential candidate on the ticket of that party. Here's that moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Electoral Commission, I do hereby declare Her Excellency Nana Konadu-Agyemang Rawlings duly elected as the flag bearer of the NDP.
In 2012, I was talking about people over politics. And today, 2016, I will say it again, that I have never been one to do what is just popular over what is right. Because I am and will always be guided by moral obligation to support the needs of the people over the interests of politics. Yes, people over politics. That is what our party stands for. That's the NDP, National Democratic Party, founded on the belief of placing people and the needs of the ordinary Ghanaian at the center of our nation's development. Placing people at the center of development means reclaiming the meaning of genuine citizens' democracy, where the best ideas are harnessed at the community level rather than the current top-down mode of governance that has deprived our communities of their freedom.
We'll bring you more sound clips and video clips from Nana Konadu-Agyemang Rawlings, but I want to connect with an equally important woman who not only worked closely with Nana Konadu-Agyemang Rawlings, but they were also in the same school, Agyemang School, back in the day. Madam Joyce Ayi, she's founder of Salt and Light Ministry. Well, Reverend Doctor, I appreciate your time with us this afternoon, but on a rather sad note.
Very sad news. Very sad news.
I see.
Very sad news.
I see. How did the news come to you?
The friend just told me that there was breaking news. And she actually showed it to me. I was shocked. So I even asked my son to find out from one of the daughters whether that was true. I'm really saddened. Yeah. A woman of substance, you know. A woman of courage.
Indeed.
Someone who has, you know, was very passionate about empowering women, making sure that women had not only a voice, but women also were able to play their rightful role at levels of society, at all levels. Starting from the farm level to the woman selling on the street, right up to people in politics, women in politics. And I like the legacy she has left. You know, it's a good thing that we remember her, among other things, as somebody who really stood for the empowerment of women. And when she had the opportunity, she had opportunity and she used the opportunity well. When her husband was in office, both in the PNDC and then when we transitioned into a democratic dispensation, she worked relentlessly with the 31st Women's 24th year, I'm growing old. But and then, you know, she herself bravely put herself out as a possible head of state. Yeah. You know, so she put her very self and her energies where her mouth was. She wasn't only interested in empowering others, but she felt that she could set the example. You don't always get that kind of courage, you know, to stick to the things that you believe in. But I think that is what she stood for. If you believed in something, she did not mind going all the way to make sure that it happened.
I mean, you had the chance, right? Reverend Doctor, go ahead.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, I mean, you had the chance to be in a Chimocha school with her. Take us back into time and tell us some of the fond things you remember about her.
Oh, well, I remember everything about her. I remember everything about her. She was a fantastic athlete, sprinter, and a hurdler. She did sprinting, she did hurdles, and she did high jump. And it wasn't just for the school alone, you know. When she went to KN University, she was doing the same thing. And even though he had asthma, it did not stop her from being very engaged in sports, not only in athletics, but also in hockey. We did rounders at netball. She was very active. She was very active. You know, yes. I mean, I think that there was something about her that, like Hawk, you couldn't put her down. You know, she was engaged. I think her spirit was like that.
Right.
She was engaged in many things, and I really thank God. If there's any legacy she has left, what you should remember of her is that when you strongly believe in something, you will have opportunity to really make it work. And that is something that we should be able to. It's something, it's good to remember her for all the things she did and how she impacted many other women to stand strong.
Right.
It's very important. That's a wonderful legacy. It's a wonderful legacy.
Doc, what was the one thing you'd walk away with after you encountered Nana Konadu?
I guess I have known her so long that there are many things I walk towards. But as I said, one thing I would like to remember Nana Konadu by is that she was a person of strong conviction, and she was brave and bold enough. She had sufficient courage to actually not only stand for what she believed in, but also make every effort to make things happen. That's what I'd like to remember her by.
Right. You know, we're having a discussion in the studio earlier, and one of the hosts had said that I haven't seen her outside of her disciplinarian personality. Was there a lighter side to Nana Konadu?
Was there what?
Was there a lighter side to her?
Oh my goodness. You couldn't play any danceable tune and not get her to dance. He loved dancing. It doesn't matter whether it's rock and roll, whether it's reggae. I like you will get 35. That's the lighter side of it. But he loves to laugh also. He loves to laugh, you know. She was friendly and engaging, you know. And she would laugh at little things. I mean, she really had a life. I think that she was true to herself as the others. If she didn't like something, you can be sure that she would give you a frown and she wouldn't pretend. Pretend was not in her vocabulary. And sometimes I would pinch her and say, oh, you don't do that. I don't do that. It is so, you know, that kind of thing. She stood for what she believed in. If she didn't like you, she wouldn't pretend she liked you. Which was funny, thinking that she was in politics. You know, if you are in politics, you have to like so many people. But she didn't mind, especially if she felt that you were dishonest, if she felt that you lacked integrity, if she felt that you were a slanderer, somebody who slandered others. Her spirit could not stand such things. And she would even tell it to your face that you went somewhere and you insulted me and now you see me, you want to talk to me. You know, she would even tell you that. Easily without batting an eyelid.
It's a sad moment,
but there are not many people like that. You know,
right.
Sometimes you think that such a person is abrasive. And I think she felt so strongly about things like being truthful, being honest, you know, and really relating well, that it didn't matter to her. Yeah.
It's a sad day, but
your picture say, oh, yeah, did you have to do that?
Right.
Oh, damn it. Then you would really say that, and then laugh about it.
It's a sad day, but we also celebrate the life and the impact she's had. And then
we have to remember her for the many good things that she did when she had the opportunity to do so.
Indeed.
I think that really we should celebrate her as somebody who so strongly believed in giving opportunity for people to advance in life, especially women. And as I said, when she had the opportunity, she was a great mobilizer. And she changed the lives of many people. Many people. A lot of people became assertive. You know, a lot of people became entrepreneurs. A lot of people really stood for what they believed in politics, all because of the example she gave. And I think celebrating such a life is important. I know Ghanaians like to cry a lot, but I think we should really celebrate her as somebody who during her lifetime made a significant impact on many lives. Male, female, children, grown-up, and
very
so
well.
on.
Speaking of children, Reverend, hold the line for me because we are seeing the first sighting of Nana Konadu-Agyemang Rawlings' children at the Jubilee House. Well, we want to show our viewers that picture from the Jubilee House. Let's take a look at that now. Well, you see in your shorts, Kimasi Rawlings there. We also see one of the daughters as well. I'm unsure if that's Amina or Zaneto. That is definitely not Zaneto Rawlings, but it's definitely one of the Rawlings daughters in the company of some relatives. We'll get our correspondent at the Jubilee House to give us details details of what we are seeing on the screen at the moment. Kamla, talk to us. This afternoon, we're seeing the first sightings of the Rawlings kids at the Jubilee House. We imagine is in connection with the passing of our beloved First Lady, former First Lady, Nana Konadu-Agyemang Rawlings. What more can you tell us?
Well, the family has given notification to His Excellency the President, to the Chief of Staff on the incident that happened in the early hours of this morning, just a short while ago. Dr. Agyemang Rawlings, who is the first child of former First Lady and the late Head of State Jerry John Rawlings, together with the brother and the former National Security Coordinator Larry Deblolati, and one of the elders of the family accompanied her to the seat of government just a short while ago. Of course, they needed to give a very, very quick intervention in terms of information to the government, because news already had started circulating on social media. And so they were there, they did not make any comments on it except to, with the pictures that we are seeing on screen now, going to give some information or notification to the president on it. Later, we are told that the president himself likely would be making comments on this. We know the relationship between the former First family and the current head of state, and also because she, together with the late husband, man or statesman and a stateswoman, and so the handling of this one, the handling of this would have to be in a much more coordinated and also official manner. But confirmation is that yes, indeed, they came to the presidency and reported to them on the happenings that occurred in the early hours of this morning.
Kamla, how's the presidency responding to this news?
Well, it's a mixed reaction. Many of them did not expect this. They never saw this coming. But yes, of course, it has happened. And I mean, a lot of the people, especially the female appointees and also civil servants who work here at the Jubilee House or the seat of government, their reaction is to the extent that, yes, the role that Nana Konadu-Agyemang Rawlings has played in the life of women or females in this country cannot be underestimated. Just last week, the president was in Beijing, marking the 30 years of that Beijing conference, and also represented the country of the African Union on as the chairperson of the Gender Committee of the African Union, forcefully making that case of where women should be placed when it comes to world politics, when it comes to governmental affairs, when it comes to also the role they have to play in society. There's a need for a real look at how they have come through, and also what sort of help or motivation the world will be giving them. Mind you, this was under the auspices of the Chinese head of state Xi Jinping and his wife, First Lady Lordina Mahama, took part in that, heavily supported by the husband, John Dramani Mahama. And so all of these are discussions that people have been holding around the Jubilee House regarding the role that she has played in the life of women in this country. The 31st December Women's Movement, many have said that without her, women will not have a voice. Mm-hmm. Hitherto, it used to be the case where the place of the woman was just the kitchen, but because she stood firm, the women now have a voice to the extent that they can even rub shoulders with men when it comes to exerting their authority and mandate when it comes to the governance of this country. And so her role as a former First Lady and also an activist, a gender activist, cannot be underestimated. These are the discussions. Once again, the country has lost a very, very important personality, not just any individual, but a former First Lady who was a gender activist and stood up when it mattered most for the voice of females or women to be heard in this country.
I see, Komla, should we expect any official communication anytime soon?
Well, we're going to have to wait a little bit because, I mean, the news was just broken to the seat of government, to the presidency, even though news of it was live this morning, especially with the postings on social media. We're going to have to just wait a little bit to find out the next line of action. But officially, the head of state will inform the country on it, just as the family has given a briefing to him. The expectation is that the president will communicate to the country regarding the sad incident.
Very well, Komla. We'll leave it here for now. Keep an eye on developments as they emerge around the passing of Ghana's former First Lady. Thank you so much, Komla. Komla Kluche is our Jubilee House correspondent. It's still our continuing coverage of the passing of Ghana's former First Lady, Nana Konadu-Rawlings. We've just seen in that shot Zaneto Rawlings, Dr. Zaneto Rawlings. I had, misidentified her earlier, together with Kimathi, in the company of some relatives to inform the presidency of the passing of their mother and the former First Lady of this country. We'll now also go to Parliament, where our parliamentary affairs correspondent has been seeking some reactions from the MPs there. Let's join Christian Yale quickly and get a bit more on how Parliament is reacting to this. Christian, what can you report?
When you get here, because just yesterday we saw the Member of Parliament for Korle Klottey in the chamber, and even the day when the House reconvened from recess, she was around. And so for this news to have come to members of Parliament on both sides, it is actually one sad one for them indeed, because I think just around when the President delivered the State of the Nation address recently or earlier this year, she was around, and she's been at a number of public functions as well, where we've seen Nana Konadu-Rawlings. Recently, during that funeral of the late Asante Hima as well, she was spotted around. And so this is actually a surprise news, not so tasteful, because then it's in a way would alter how things flow here in Parliament. Actually, the news has reached members of Parliament who are around. Very shortly, the House would convene to begin to discuss a number of matters that are before the House. But what we know is that definitely there is going to be a statement to be made by any of the members of Parliament, especially from the majority side, those who caucus with Honorable Zaneto Agyemang-Rawlings, who has today lost the mother, Nana Konadu-Rawlings. And so that is how things are panning out here in Parliament. And very shortly, like I said, we are actually about to enter the chamber of Parliament to gauge the mood there and also to get a number of the members of Parliament. Just a while ago, you had the minority addressing a presser, and after that, I mean, off record, before we came on air, we had some of the MPs chit-chatting and having some minor conversations around this news that has reached them, many of which are already expressing their, profound condolences with the Member of Parliament. I have personally also attempted to get in touch with her, and even through her personal assistant, but none of that has proven successful as of yet. And so we'll still try to see and understand and get some reactions from members of Parliament, especially from both sides of the House, and how things have been. And you know that heretofore, most of the time, time, Honorable Zaneto Agyemang-Rawlings has become a subject of, conversation, especially around issues of ministerial appointment and the rest, and some statements that are made, especially from the minority side, which some even have deemed them to be unfortunate and what have you. But really, this news about the loss of her mother is one that really wouldn't come with all of those issues, but would be one that would attract and call for condolence messages from across the divide, irrespective of one's political affiliation. So indeed, I can confirm to you that here inside the presence of Parliament and around the chamber and inside the Job 600 building where I am right now, the news has reached here that indeed Ghana has lost a great personality in the person of Nana Konadu-Rawlings, and the direct effect on her daughter, who is a member of Parliament for the Kwale constituency. So pretty shortly, we'll be coming back to you with some reactions from some of the members of Parliament. And indeed, and as we have seen in all past circumstances, this is not to remind people of their sorrow, but when that shocking news of the passing of the Akwatia MP, Ernest Yaokumi, happened like this, in fact, that particular day, because that was a sitting member of Parliament and it was a direct blow to Parliament, we had Parliament, for instance, adjourning, unlike how they used to do their things, which was more or less like just a brief sitting. The announcement which was done, which subsequently called for some messages from both sides of the House, and right after that, the Speaker had to adjourn sitting so that members of the House would have enough time to more or less condole with the family and also to reconvene the next day. I'm not exactly sure that is what is going to play out today, also because it is not a member.
We'll have you go back into the chamber, Christian, so you could get us those reactions from inside the chamber. We hear the bell already tolling for the MPs to return to the chamber. So we'll leave you to go in there and bring us updates as they emerge. If you've been with us since the beginning, you had my conversation with our Jubilee House correspondent, Komla Kluche, when I asked him if there's been official communication from the presidency yet regarding the passing of Nana Konadu-Rawlings. He said at the time there wasn't. Now we know there's been communication from the Minister for Government Communication, Felix Kwachio-Fusu. Let's go back to our correspondent, Komla Kluche, and learn what the presidency is saying about this. Well, you have it on your screen at the moment. Komla, if you can hear me, talk to me and really talk to us about what the government has been saying.
Government has communicated the sudden demise of the former First Lady, Nana Konadu-Rawlings. The presidency, a short while ago, released a statement which was signed by Felix Kwachio-Fusu MP, who is a spokesperson to the government, and the Minister for Government Communication, issued a statement that the passing of Mrs. Nana Konadu-Rawlings' government announces with deep regret and profound sorrow the untimely passing of former First Lady and founder of the 31st December Women's Movement, Her Excellency Mrs. Nana Konadu-Rawlings. Mrs. Rawlings passed this morning after a short illness. Government extends its deepest condolences to immediate family. Signed, Felix Kwachio-Fusu, MP, spokesperson to the President, Minister, Government Communication. So news keeps breaking, and just on the spur of the moment, just shortly, the family had informed government of it. Government has issued a statement to confirm that yes, indeed, the former First Lady, Nana Konadu-Rawlings, who once remains the founder of the 31st December Women's Movement, died this morning shortly after an illness. So
indeed, Komla, and for
communication from
and indeed, for the first time since the news broke, we are starting to get a sense of when she actually passed today. Remember that the news came in through our wires after midday. so it was hard to tell when exactly she had passed. Now government's communication is giving us a sense of when this may have happened, when they say in that letter that she passed away this morning after a short illness. But Komla, the visit by the family, Kimathi, Dr. Konadu-Rawlings, is not only because she, Nana Konadu is or was, she is a former first lady, so to speak, but it's also because of the relationship the current government has with the Rawlingses. Is that correct? Well, my understanding is we've lost our correspondent on the line. We'll raise him back and then speak a bit more on that relationship between the NDC and Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings. But as you very well know, she played a crucial role rallying the female vote. She played a crucial role being the backbone of Ghana's presidency from 1992 to 2001 when it was handed over to the NPP, because her husband, Jerry John Rawlings, was president at the time in the Fourth Republic. If you take it to the Republic before then you say that there was also the period of 1982, and that was the time when the 31st December Women's Movement was actually formed. And I wonder if I still have Reverend Dr. Joyce Ayi over the phone, because there's been a lot of mention of 31st December Women's Movement. But really, for somebody who had lived through that period, was crucial also in that movement, what you could tell us about the vision that burst the DWM, the work, the extent of work that they had done over the years, because it's easy to put it all under one umbrella and talk about women's empowerment and political activism amongst women. But it was a much more powerful movement than that, if you remember correctly. And so I want us to go on the ground again to Parliament this time. Christian Yale is standing by with, well, my understanding, not Christian, but Grace Hamwa Agyemang, who had joined us earlier from the Ridge Hospital, is returning with new information from there. Grace, what can you report? Grace, can you hear me?
So we are here at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, also known as the Ridge Hospital, where the former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings was reportedly on admission before his demise. We have not spotted any family member, or be it daughter or son or any friend or relative since we got here, or even any notable government person here at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. But Kemini, I tell you, the apprehension here and the environment of curiosity here at the hospital paints a picture of the fact that there's something really going on. We've seen a few things which also paints the picture that there's something going on here. Let me tell you this. For instance, the OPD emergency department, where you ordinarily walk into, there is a restriction that nobody is expected to go in through there, especially the media. We encountered the security man in front of that entrance, and he tells me that, Madam, I cannot let you in. I told him, this is a place where we ordinarily enter without any restriction. He told me that he's been instructed immediately not to allow anybody to use that entrance, not to allow anybody to go. He tells me that, Madam, we know why you are here, but we've been instructed not to let anybody go in there, so I cannot let you go. Also, you see a few of the patients or the other people who have come here standing in pairs or two, trying to seek answers to questions on their minds on whether what they have seen or heard is also true. Some of them approach the media and ask us, Madam, we've heard that the former First Lady is on admission here and has died here. Have you heard anything of that sort? And so in as much as we haven't heard or received any official confirmation from either hospital authorities or friends or children of the former First Lady, the environment here and a few indicators point to the fact that probably she was, yes, on admission here, and the former First Lady has died, just as government has announced in their official press release to the country, as well as how other people who had any form of affiliation association to the former First Lady have also spoken to us on our broadcast. And so, yes, that is the environment here at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, or the Ridge Hospital, where the former First Lady Nana Konadu-Rawlings was reportedly on admission before she died. So if you want to come to the OPD emergency, which you ordinarily walk into, you cannot do so now because of the instruction that has been given that nobody should be allowed to use that. According to the police officer I spoke to, they know why we are here, and so they've been instructed not to allow the media or anybody access into where you would ordinarily pass. And so that is here the indication we are picking on the ground here as far as the breaking news of the demise of the former First Lady Nana Konadu-Rawlings is concerned, Kamini.
And indeed, Grace, we are at the Ridge Hospital because when the news came through our wires, we had been informed that one, she went in on admission at the Ridge Hospital, and subsequently we also heard that that is where she died, which is why we are stationed at the Ridge Hospital. Now, Grace, from all that you have seen, you report that you get the sense that indeed that is where she took her last breath. Well, we've lost Grace over that connection, but we're working to get you more information as quickly and as accurately as possible. It's our continuing coverage of the passing of Ghana's former First Lady, Nana Konadu-Rawlings, whose death we now know occurred sometime this morning after a short illness. And we'll now connect again with Christian Yali from Parliament. In our last interaction with Christian, the bells were tolling, signaling the MPs back into the chamber. Let's find out what's happening now. Christian. Very well. We lost Christian as well, but we can go back into time and listen to the Iron Lady, Ghana's Margaret Thatcher, Nana Konadu-Agyemang Rawlings, who's died at the age of 76. A very impactful politician who lived an exemplary life. One that not only empowered the young women who came after her, but also empowered the women within her circle at the time. We'll tell you more about her life, particularly in her last book, It Takes a Woman. But right now, let's go back to the residence where Mourns is. Mourns. Oh. We cannot connect to Mourns at this time, but when we do have our connections right, we will bring you the information from the ground. You're watching TV3. It's our continuing coverage of the death of Nana Konadu-Agyemang Rawlings, an advocate for women, an astute politician. By all standards. We can now connect with Mourns again. Mourns.
Yes, Kamini, I can hear you.
Right. What can you report? We see that you are the residents. What are you observing?
Since 30 plus minutes, or since we've been here, it's been all very quiet, but for a number of vehicles which have made its way into the residence of the Rawlings. So we have two entrances. What we're seeing in the shot right now, just behind me, is one of the major entrances. One of the entrance. There's another one just some few meters away from this one that we're seeing very clearly. which both being manned by military personnel, and there's a lot of understanding as to why military personnel are the ones manning it, because of the hierarchy of individuals and the positions they've occupied as well in the past, explains the reason why the military are the ones who've manned this place. In the short time that we've been here, there's been quite a number of vehicles that have come through. Difficulty in being able to identify who exactly has made their way here. But what I can say and confirm very strongly is that a short while ago, my colleague Christian Yali had mentioned there were attempts to reach the Member of Parliament for the Korle Klottey area, who happens to be the daughter of now late Konadu-Rawlings, a former First Lady. Her vehicle, and I say her vehicle because the sticker of Parliament, which is very common on the vehicles of Members of Parliament, made its way past me some 20 minutes ago and made its way into the residence as well. We could see who the driver was, but the backside or the passenger seat was very heavily tinted, and so it's very difficult to be able to tell. A silver Land Cruiser, I suspect and believe strongly, is Zaneto Agyemang-Rawlings, who has made her way as well into the residence. And to just try and paint a picture for persons who might not really be familiar with this particular area, it's just a short walk from the Ridge roundabout, and from here, this particular stretch, there is an entrance. If you take your left, a little about 100 meters, you can make your way to the Ridge Hospital, where my colleague Grace Hamo-Agyemang is stationed, and we're learning of that there is some tightened protocols even at the OPD services as well. And so the report suggests that her last days or her last moments were at the Ridge Hospital. You can understand why, because if she were to have been here before she was moved to the Ridge Hospital, it would just be a little over 100 meters from this residence into the Ridge Hospital, where she spent her last days. Like I mentioned, since we've been here, a number of vehicles have come through. One that I can confirm belonging to the MP for Korle Klottey has as well made its way into the, allowing us get close to be able to identify the respective individuals who are making their way here. But what I can confirm is that the vehicle belonging to the Member of Parliament, who is the daughter, Zaneto Agyemang-Rawlings, has made its way into the residence for over 20 minutes, and we are not sure exactly what it is that's happening, but as is customary, as is what happens mostly around Ghanaian families, the children will return home, families will return home, and then there will be the initial conversations. We're seeing some of the individuals as well doing the walk on foot, trying to make their way into the residence, all clad in black, and that is what it looks like at this point in time, even as the news continues to trickle in and continues to reach as many individuals as possible, persons within government, persons outside of government, family relations, amongst many other things. They will begin to make their way here and begin to want to commiserate with the family and get to understand what we get as in the only source of information as to what possibly could have been the cause is what we've seen from the government statement, which says that she died after a short illness. But as we've been here, no family member whatsoever, even the military persons or the security persons.
Very well, Mauna, I'm afraid we would have to end it here with you. We'll come back when new information pops up. But we'll go to Parliament now, where Christian Yali is in a conversation with the board chair of the GRA, Ricketts Hagen.
The Rawlings, in terms of our mother, Nana Konadu-Rawlings. But we were not actually sure. We didn't have a confirmation then, but we heard that there were some health issues, coma or something like that. So we were just there, and then the information came that this is what has happened. So we are actually in shock. and trying to absorb the news. In fact, I just came out of the chamber. You journalists have just confirmed to me that His Excellency John Mahama had called the family. So if it's coming from the president, then obviously it means that it's been confirmed. I hear a statement has been put out there, but that's really a shock because we didn't know that our mom was actually not well. I mean, in fact, I think we've seen her recently in various functions, and she looked fit as she's always been. So it must have been something that triggered it, short, and it's really sad. I mean, the nation has lost one of its formidable women. We know what she's done for this country over the years. I mean, we were all growing up knowing Mrs. Konadu-Rawlings and the role she played during the revolutionary days. And when we return back to democracy, you know, she's a formidable woman and a leader in her own right. We know the role she played before affirmative action became fashionable. We know the role she played in mobilizing women together to obviously form the 31st December movement and what they did with all those strong women, what they did. And then, of course, when we you know, after the husband left office, her passion for the country and what she wanted to do in terms of leadership, in terms of having her own political party, getting out of the party that she gave birth to. If we can put it out.
So, leader, what do we expect Parliament to do from here? Any official visit to the family house and the rest?
Absolutely. We will be paying an official visit. In fact, we were just thinking about that. Just as you said, what informed us closing from the chamber is to be able to have the opportunity to absorb the story in full and know what we have to do and do some mobilization and see what will be the appropriate time for us to pay a visit. Don't forget that our sister, who made a statement in the chamber yesterday, Honorable Dr. Agyemang Rawlings, the statement I contributed to in my conclusion, was here yesterday, and she's one of our own, and that's her mother. So obviously we'll be making a visit to console, you know, with her at the appropriate time. The news is fresh, it's being absorbed, mobilization is going on, and sooner than later, I think we will get to with the family.
Thank you very much. So that has been the Deputy Majority Leader, Kweku Rekete-Hagan. There are still a number of members of Parliament who are here. The first Deputy Speaker, let me try to engage you briefly. Leader, Honourable, so this is an unfortunate news. Being the second Deputy Speaker indeed, what are your immediate thoughts?
Very shocking, very tragic, but it's part of life. Nobody expected. I mean, I don't think you were expecting this news. Nobody expected, but it has happened. So we can only pray that the soul will get a restful place in the bosom of the Lord. And we also pray for strength for the children, Zinato and the siblings. I mean, God should strengthen them to stand this shocking news. It's very, very shocking. But like I said, it's something that should always tell us that this world, we are all passing. We are all passing. When you are not expecting, that's the time you will be called by your maker. So you all have to prepare. Because other than that, there's nothing that one can say.
I know that probably you might have had a relationship with the former First Lady, the late now Nana Konadu-Rawlings, and even the daughter who is in Parliament. How close is it?
I'm very, very, very close with Zanato. I mean, we used to be members of African Parliamentary Union together. We travel together in most of the African countries, and we do so many things together. Even yesterday I was with her. And nobody expected that this news would hit her. But like I said, it's part of life. It's something that nobody prepares for it. It will come. So we should be guided in whatever steps we take on this earth. We pray for her so.
What are some of, probably, maybe finally and briefly, the fondest memory you have to share with Nana Konadu-Rawlings?
Oh, I think the last meeting I had with her was when was the last event that brought her here?
That should be probably the State of the Nation
State of the Nation address. So after the statement, we met at the reception, and he was just tapping my shoulder that keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. So I think we can only pray for her. So yes, thank you. It's part of life.
It's part of life, and it is one that you do not expect happening. That has been the words of the second Deputy Speaker, Agyemang Konadu-Rawlings. Indeed, there are still a number of members of Parliament who are around. We just still want to get the views of more of them to more or less gauge their mood and get their thoughts really and their immediate reaction to what has happened. I see Fred Agbenyo in my shot right now, trying to see if I can get him to also say a few words, and probably also coming from the same.
Well, our Christian Yale there in a conversation with a couple of MPs, including Cape Coast South MP, who makes a very significant point about women's empowerment, she being at the forefront of that before it became fashionable to embark on feminism in Ghana. And that's really instructive and important to note, because Nana Konadu was very instrumental in that 1995 Beijing Declaration. If you recall, she was part of that African Women's Caucus that stated the continent's position on that declaration, and a very significant move then as First Lady, and her ability to be able to get to this country there in that spotlight. I'll tell you a bit more about her engagement with women on education, on economic freedom or liberation and empowerment. But right now, let me connect with founding member of the NPP, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. Doc, we speak again, but on a rather sad note, on the passing of Nana Konadu-Rawlings. How does this news come to you?
I think it is very important for her to leave the scene at this stage. I have known Nana Konadu since 1974. I remember herself and my former wife were both mates at Agyemang School and at the University as well. We had chat, we discussed issues until I went to detention in 1977. And I was in detention until Akufo removed Agyemang, and I then ended up with June 4th. And after June 4th, I've been meeting her occasionally. And I think the one key thing that she did for this nation is feminine affirmative, which she played a very key role in it, I must say. I remember a tour with some other ladies then to China, where that particular meeting took place. She has been a very influential person when her husband was in power, especially in the 80s, for quite a long period. At the moment, I think all I can say is I wish her a very peaceful rest in the arms of the Lord.
That familial ties you have to this family as well. So this must also be a tough reliving of that moment when Jerry John Rawlings passed, away as well. But I want to talk about Nana Konadu and what she was like in those personal moments as a woman, not as a first lady. I mean, the two are not mutually exclusive, but talk to us about what you think she was as a person.
You made mention of family, yes. You know, very few people know that Jerry John Rawlings was my cousin. Jerry John Rawlings' grandmother was a granddaughter of Togunya Otamakoni first. And I was also a great grandson of Togunya Otamakoni first. Now, I think what I would like to tell the children is that they should know that they have their roots in Angon. They should also know that if in future they want to get into politics like the older one has done, then they must know that their roots in living. I don't think they have been so close to Angon at all. And I remember when our grandmother passed on, among those who came was only Dr. Agyemang Konadu-Rawlings, that's the first girl. That the rest, I didn't see any of them around at all.
I see. So they should remember their roots. But tell us really, how important a support was she to the political movement, political atmosphere at the time? What can you share with us?
The political atmosphere at the time was very rough. But you see, one thing is that what happened in 1979, June 4th, was not a joke. If you have been around or you've been a soldier before, what happened to officers, very senior officers, who were slaughtered, and a lot that took place. Now, you ask yourself a simple question. What role did she play? Well, I know definitely such decisions might come to her notice, but there's nothing, or there was nothing she could have done at that time. Well, after a while, the husband himself realized that when things are going really dangerous, so he has to put a stop to the killings. But one thing I will say, and say it again, the political class of this country should be very, very careful. I've been saying it all the time. Because it appears as if the rank and file in the country are getting fed up with the political class. So Nana Konadu said she will warn the political class that they should stop destroying this nation. They should stop stealing. People are stealing. Make us stealing. Now, the government now in power must make sure that all those who have been caught stealing the country's money, their properties are confiscated, and that is an easy thing to do. It can be traced very easily.
I see. So
and then secondly, all that they have taken must be retrieved. Those of them who have left the country, it is their responsibility to make sure that they are brought to justice in this country. Without justice, there will be no peace in Ghana. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you so much for talking to us. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is a statesman and founding member of the NPP, who's just been sharing his thoughts on the passing of Nana Konadu-Rawlings, Rawlings, Ghana's first former first lady, if you understand what I mean. She was the very first one in the Fourth Republic between the period 1992 to 2000. I was telling you how much she believed in economic liberation, and we'll do a bit more on that. But let's head back to Parliament, where Christian Yale is on standby with some more reactions from the House. What will you see now, however, visuals when Dr. Konadu-Rawlings, the Member of Parliament for Klotekole, and Kimathi Rawlings, her brother, Nana Konedu's son, so to speak, in the company of some family members, visited the Jubilee House to officially inform government about the passing of their mother, our beloved First Lady, Nana Konadu-Rawlings. Shortly after this meeting, we know that the government released its first communication on this, where they condoled with the family. They also made clear for the first time that her demise had happened earlier this morning. What you see now are live visuals from the residents of the Rawlingses. Spio Gabra, who worked with the Rawlingses closely. He served in the government of Jerry John Rawlings. He's there, obviously, to condole with the family upon hearing the news. He is a member of the NDC. It's one of the first visits we are getting on camera. Remember that our correspondent on the ground, Mourns, had told us that security had cordoned off the area close to the family home, and so we couldn't bring you any visits. This is the first one we are getting on camera, and is of Spio Gabra, who's visiting the family. So there you have it. You see now again that interaction between the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Emmanuel Kofi Mabua, and Dr. Konadu-Rawlings, obviously condoling and consoling her as they visited the President, John Dramani Mahama, to inform him of the passing of Nana Agyemang Rawlings. I've been joined in the studio now by my colleague, Alfred Okanse. If you just joined us, it's our continuing coverage of the passing of Nana Agyemang Rawlings. Now, because we've just seen live pictures from the residents of the Rawlingses, we'll go there again and speak to Mawena Egbeta, find out what exactly we have missed since Spio Gabra entered the compound. Mawena, what can you report from there? We saw earlier that Spio Gabra had just made his way to the Rawlings residence. What more can you tell us?
A few words from you. How did you hear the news, and you've come to the family residence as well?
This morning I woke up, I came to Parliament as usual. On the floor of Parliament, and I saw people gathering, and it's like it was a graveyard, fine. And somebody called me and said, this is what has happened. It was a very bad news. So because of even that, Parliament, though we sat, we couldn't exhaust everything, and we have to come and share our condolences. That's why I'm here. Others will be coming.
So we're expecting a lot more in terms of your colleagues from Parliament coming here.
I thought they are even here because we were all asked. We agree coming here, so I thought they've even gotten here.
That's the majority caucus.
The majority caucus. The majority caucus.
All right, sure. Thank you. So
that we never expected, but who are we to judge? It has happened, so we will take it like that.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the Member of Parliament for the English Yamanfru constituency, Honourable speaking to us as well. And so what we understand is that a lot more members of parliament are expected to make their way here. In the short while since we've been here, even in fact just behind us, there's another vehicle that's pulling up. Let's get a few words from Agyemang as well, who's speaking to the media.
How did you receive this news?
Well, I think if the news is true, because until the family confirms it in a manner that some of us will accept it, we still take this to be unconfirmed, even though I believe the presidency has come out with a statement. It's an unexpected development, but all of us in our various families and lives have similar incidents where a close friend, a close relative may also depart. And so when such incidents take place, we often are left with grief and all kinds of emotions run into our heads. Eventually, in many cases, the truth comes out and we come to terms with it. At this time, I've not come to terms with this truth, so I can only express my grief and my sorrow if it turns out to be true, and wish the family and all of us in Ghana and the whole of Africa really our condolences if it turns out to be true.
Doc, what principles and, if you like, moral, standards of the former First Lady as a key member of the NDC are you able to most reflect on?
There's a lot to reflect on, a lot to be said at the right time. But her greatness has not been fully appreciated, partly because of the circumstances in which NDC lost power and the unfortunate developments that took place after we lost power with her 31st December Women's Movement being investigated in a very unfriendly manner by the Kufuor government at the time. The father she had to go to court for many years, and even her late former husband, President Rawlings, also had to be in court, sometimes standing for many hours. It was a low moment in Ghana's democratic development. But NDC has won power and lost power, and we've seen at different times when the former President Rawlings was also alive, he tried to restrain himself with many of the negative things that are going on in our country and which were going on at the time he was alive. And I believe the former First Lady also was very mindful of those things. As I said, the time will come for us to speak at length. So at this time, I'll just plead with you to allow us and the rest of the country to verify actually what has happened. And as I've said, if it is true, then obviously we'll have to mourn her in a very special way. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That's Dr. Agyemang speaking to us. We've just seen as well other members of parliament as well come through. Honorable, if you could as well just share a few thoughts with us how the news got to you. You were in the chamber of parliament when the news came.
Well, I was in my office getting ready for the chamber when my RA prompted me, and it hit me because only yesterday I was speaking about her with Honorable Zenato. I would usually ask her, how's mommy doing? And she would say, oh, mommy's doing good. So yesterday when we left the chamber, we walked out together. And I was inquiring about her. And Honorable said she was good. So it really hit me and almost got me polarized. But huge lesson for all of us. I found out later that she was. It just tells how, I mean, indispensable we are. That at God's own time, He just does what He wants to do, and we have no solution to it. She is a very dear one to us, especially those of us Ghanaian women who grew up in the late 80s to the 90s. We walked her talk, what we could do to harness those potentials. She didn't just leave it there. She also took practical steps to sort of actualize some of the issues that she raised. For example, I mean, if she went around providing day care centers, so women, our market women, our mothers, could leave their children there and go to the market. There is nothing like empowerment if you don't enable it. So she enabled the Ghanaian woman to know that yes, we can make children, but there's also a way in which that should not stop us from doing what we have to do. If you recall, we had by the fireside, or even as adults, we all got hooked to by the fireside. It's all gone. We had all these programs that Gary making factories, palm oil making factories. You go around the country, you see critical and concrete footsteps of Her Excellency Nana Konadu-Rawlings in empowering women. She went everywhere from Accra to Lambusie, from Accra to Paga, from Accra to Agyemang. She was there. She became a constant feature of our life. And you know, I don't think that is a coincidence. On Tuesday, I attended a session of the Canadian Parliamentary Center in Ghana, monitoring and evaluating their program on women. And I couldn't help but mention Nana Konadu-Rawlings on Tuesday at the Coconut Grove Hotel. And today is Thursday, just 2 days later, she's no more. So for me, it's more than just losing her. I think Ghana has lost someone that, you know, got to Parliament in 2021. She was a constant feature in Parliament. State of the Nation's address, she's there. Swearing in of the president, she's there. She never missed any state event. It tells you the passion, the character of this woman who loved Ghana more than anything. At the last State of the Nation in Parliament, she was there. You know, so it's a big loss to Ghana today. We grieve with the family. Our thoughts are with them, but we also know what we've lost. We're hoping and praying that this will enable a reset, going back to open the chapters, look at what she did and see where we can pick it up from and continue with the agenda. And when I was in Beijing on the last week, on the I think 14th or so, commemorating the 30th anniversary of the Beijing conference, she was the one in mind because she brought Beijing to us in Ghana. There's no way that history can be written without her name in gold. May Allah Almighty have mercy on her soul.
Thank you as well for sharing those thoughts with us. As another member of Parliament on the side of the NDC, who's just been speaking to us as well on the latest. We understand that the majority members of Parliament are expected to be here a lot later, as we've spoken to two NDC MPs already, who've been here, and a lot more are expected in terms of coming through. That's the Honourable Zuira, the Salaga South Member of Parliament as well. She's made her way inside now. I must mention that in the last hour or so, since we've been here, there's been police presence that's come through from the headquarters of the Ghana Police Service. There was a vehicle, a pickup vehicle, a truck, which came with police officers numbering more than 12. Some have made their way inside. There are others as well who have stationed just opposite the residence as well. Some of the senior officers, as we saw, have made their way inside, and I can get a sneak peek from where I am inside. And they are, a number of them are stationed inside. We haven't seen any barricades as well come through just as yet. But earlier when I provided the updates as to Zaneto being in the residence and having arrived, in that time, she, along with what we suspect will be other relations or other siblings, have moved out from here. My suspicion, which I have to just cross-check with my colleague who is at the Ridge Hospital, is that they possibly, and this is not anything I'm saying with confirmation, but they headed towards the Ridge Hospital area. You could make a turn towards Ridge. You could make a turn towards the newly put together Ministry of Health as well, and so cannot tell exactly in which direction they went. But I must mention that they made their way again outside of the facility. But for now, two members of parliament, a former trade minister and a senior member of the NDC, they've made their way here. Salaga South member of parliament, English Yamanfrom member of parliament, all MPs on the majority side. We got confirmation from the English Yamanfrom MP that the expectation is that the House sitting has been suspended. The majority members will be coming here as well, and we'll continue to monitor and provide details.
Moina Egbeta there with that report. Moina, thank you so much for bringing us that. We've just returned from the residence of the Rawlingses. As more visitations happen, we will take you there. In the meantime, let's head back to Parliament, where Christian Yale is on standby.
Guan, what are your immediate thoughts really about what has happened?
Well, when I first heard the news, I didn't believe that it was true, because not too long ago I saw her mother in Kumasi when Asante Hima passed on, and as usual she was looking very healthy and strong. There was no indication that she was not feeling well, and I didn't hear that she was at the hospital at all until the death was announced. But God knows everything. The Bible said in all things we give thanks to God. All we can say at this point is to extend our condolences to the children in particular and the entire family and the Ghanaian fraternity. She has played her role. When we talk about the Fourth Republic, I don't think that we can write the history of the Fourth Republic without the name of Nana Konadu-Rawlings, especially the National Democratic Congress and even the PNDC. We know the role that she played when it came to mobilization of women in particular, conscientizing women and getting them to get actively involved in our politics. And so she has played her role, she has contributed, she has served this country very well. I believe that she deserves a state burial. I believe that we need to give her a befitting burial that she rightfully deserves. She has played her role, and posterity will remember her kindly.
Talking about playing her role, what are some of the fondest memories you have of her, and maybe even the personal relationship that you share with her?
Well, you remember that at the first December movement, and I always remember with her red beret that she wore with the women, Madam Shariaite, who was a vice and all that. They moved around the entire country, teaching women how to repair soap, how to prepare basic economic activity that will make life meaningful for them. She was very, very integral and very part, setting up of daycares across the length of this country so that the young people can get education from that very early stage. She was very much involved, and one of the things about she's very, very particular with colors. You dare not get close to Nana Konadu-Rawlings wearing any Caliph and NDC person who looks NPP. If you wear anything that is blue, anything that is, she should question you, why are you wearing this? She's very passionate about the thing that she does. I think that she has a well. She's a strong character. If you're looking for a woman with a strong character, somebody who believes in a conviction, who will run and die for a conviction, that is Nana Konadu-Rawlings. And I think we all remember her for the role that she played. Thank you.
I don't have your contacts. Have they taken us off now? Yeah. Okay.
Bro, 0244. 0244.
Well, now we apologize for that, but we've just heard from the SAL MP, Fred Agbenyo, there in that conversation with Christian Yale. Back here in the studio is Alfred Okense, who's just joined me. Alfred, what a day, right?
What a day. Indeed. we woke up today, obviously, with no plans of having to deal with a very heavy news like this. But just as Fred Agbenyo said, the history of the Fourth Republic of Ghana cannot be written without the name Nana Konadu-Rawlings being acknowledged in there. She's inked her name in the history of the Fourth Republic, not only in the lives of women, but in the body politics of our country. And that clearly is reflective of the kind of response and the reaction that we've seen from the many people. I was listening to you talk to Reverend Dr. Joyce Ayi, who at some point worked quite closely with her.
Absolutely.
You know, and the testimony that she gives clearly reflects a resounding impact that she's had over the period. And she described her as a chief organizer. Because really, if you look at the impact that she had, right, from the PNDC to NDC 1, NDC 2, when the late Jerry John Rawlings was president of the Republic of Ghana and flag bearer of the NDC, nobody would be wrong to say that there hasn't been any organization of the women front in the NDC like her. After Jerry Rawlings exited the front of the NDC as its leader, I think that what probably could have been done was to ensure that whatever she laid, the solid foundation she laid, would have been also built upon over time. But clearly, her organizational skills cannot be watered down. She's had a great impact and influence on the NDC and then also on our body politics as a nation. I was just thinking about the fact that maybe, just maybe, the family was just planning to commemorate the memory of the late Jerry Rawlings 5 years on.
5 years on.
Because he died on November 12, 2020. And so in the next 3 weeks, would have been 5 years that the late Jerry Rawlings left us. And then now, today, unfortunately, we're having to also deal with the loss of the woman of his life.
Yeah.
I've heard a number of people you've spoken to talk about the bond and the love between the two of them.
Two of them, yeah.
Certainly that will continue in the afterlife.
In the afterlife. Sure.
After today. And I know that while we are mourning, certainly some angels and the late Jerry Rawlings will be happy, right? Receiving
such a beautiful
soul, the love of his life. And we're going to go back to Parliament now. Some members of Parliament have been talking to Christian Yali. We'll hear them now.
I think it's a sad day for this country, given the role that she has played individually, but the family that she comes from, they have dominated Ghanaian politics for some time, and they still have the legacy in Parliament, projecting the development of this country. And she, when she was First Lady, was remarkably known for her women empowerment initiatives, the creation of women groups and empowering them financially, politically, but also courtesy-wise. So I think it is a sad day for the country. And we definitely miss his contributions, his political activeness and assertiveness. She has single-handedly contributed to the development and expansion of the frontiers of gender politics in this country as a First Lady, but also as somebody who single-handedly became a flag bearer of political parties. So I think she has made that kind of exposure, breaking the barriers and the glass ceilings in our politics, given how patriarchal that it is. So I think we'll celebrate her for leading the way, for creating opportunity for other women to realize that they are more powerful than they can imagine, and to get actively involved in body politics. If you look at the political empowerment of women, you can never discuss that issue without mentioning her name and recognizing her. So we definitely miss her for her contribution to the development and empowerment of women in our body politic. All right, thank you too. Very grateful.
I don't have enough information of what's happening. Okay. Tragic. That is what I would say, because life, it tells you that life is short. Today we are here, tomorrow we are not. So there's no need for hate. There's no need for struggles. You just have to laugh and then take it easy. Because for this year, I think we've lost